Hey warriors, welcome to Empowerment and Illness. I am your host, Gwen. When I turned 60, I started planning a bucket list trip to celebrate. It's supposed to be a joyful time, a time to reflect, be grateful, and take in the fact that I've made it to this moment. But while I'm planning, I find myself surrounded by people whose lives are changing in ways they never expected. One person is facing a second cancer diagnosis. Another is in the ICU fighting for her life, while her husband is trying to hold everything together. He's caring for the 2 children, trying to stay by her side, and still carrying the pressure of keeping his job. Someone else had a heart attack and now has stents in her body. Watching all of this unfold around me brought up something deep. It brought me back to that feeling of realizing life didn't turn out the way you thought it would. It reminded me of what it feels like when your plans get interrupted, when your body changes the direction of your future, and when the expectations you built in your mind no longer match the life you're living. Chronic illness has a way of doing that. It doesn't simply change your health. It can shape the entire picture of the life you thought you would have. That's why we're having this conversation today. We're talking about what it means when life doesn't meet your expectations, when chronic illness changes the plans, and when you're trying to make peace with the life you never asked for, but still have to learn how to live. Let's get into it. What makes this so painful is not only the diagnosis, the symptoms, or the medical language we never asked to learn. What makes it painful is that so many of us had a vision for our lives. We thought we would have more time before our bodies start changing. We thought we would be building, growing, traveling, working, loving, parenting, resting, and living without having to calculate every ounce of energy. We thought life would follow some kind of order. We thought if we did the right things, life would meet us halfway. But for so many people living with chronic illness, that's not what happened. Instead of building freely, we started adjusting constantly. Instead of looking ahead with ease, we started bracing for what might go wrong. Instead of asking what we wanted next, we started asking what our body would allow. That shift is painful because it's not only a change in health, it's a change in identity. It's the loss of the life you thought was waiting for you. And I think that's a grief people don't talk about enough. People will talk about being strong. They will talk about pushing through. They will talk about staying positive. But not enough people talk about the heartbreak of having to release the picture you carried in your mind for years. Not enough people talk about what it feels like to realize your future doesn't look the way you promised yourself it would. That kind of grief is quiet, but it's heavy. For many of us, the pain isn't only in what happened. The pain is in what didn't happen. The plans that stalled, the milestones that moved, the version of life that never arrived. And when you're carrying that kind of loss, it can make you feel confused, angry, ashamed, or even guilty for mourning something other people can't see. That's where I want to sit for a moment today, because this part matters. When life doesn't meet your expectations, it can make you question everything. It can make you question your value, your direction, your faith, your body, and your future. But naming that pain doesn't make you weak. It makes you honest. And honesty is where healing begins. The pain of chronic illness is not only in what changed, it's also in watching life keep moving while you're trying to figure out how to survive the version of it you didn't plan for. Time doesn't pause because your body is struggling. The world doesn't slow down because your plans got interrupted. People still move forward, celebrate milestones, build families, grow careers, take trips, and make memories. And when you're the one trying to manage symptoms, fear, exhaustion, and uncertainty, it can feel like life is moving without you. That feeling can do real damage if you don't name it. Because after a while, you stop looking at your life with compassion and start looking at it with criticism. You start measuring yourself against timelines that no longer fit your reality. You start asking yourself why you're not further along, why things are taking so long, and why your life doesn't look like what you expected by now. That's where the emotional weight gets heavier, because now you're not only dealing with illness, you're also dealing with disappointment, comparison, and the pressure to explain the life you never planned to be living. Comparison is cruel in seasons like this. It will make you stare at someone else's progress and call yourself behind. It will make you question your value because your path looks different. It will make you forget how much strength it takes to keep going when your body has changed the terms of your life. Chronic illness doesn't only affect what you can do. It affects how you see yourself if you're not careful. And when unmet expectations sit too long without being addressed, they can turn into shame. But being on a different timeline doesn't mean you failed. It means your life asks something different of you. It means you've had to carry things other people don't have to carry. It means survival has required more from you than most people will ever see. So before you judge yourself for where you are, tell the truth about what it has taken for you to be here. That truth matters. But being on a different timeline doesn't mean you failed. It means your life asks something different of you. It means you've had to carry things other people don't have to carry. It means survival has required more from you than most people will ever see. So before you judge yourself for where you are, tell the truth about what it has taken for you to still be here. That truth matters, and it deserves more respect than the expectations that got broken along the way. At some point, we have to decide whether we're going to keep punishing ourselves for what changed or start making peace with the life in front of us. Making peace doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It doesn't mean acting like the loss was small. It doesn't mean forcing yourself to be positive before you're ready. It means telling the truth. It means admitting that some things didn't turn out the way you hoped. It means acknowledging that chronic illness changed your plans, your pace, your energy, your relationships, and maybe even your sense of identity. But it also means recognizing that your life isn't over because it changed. That's a hard truth to accept when you've spent so much time mourning what didn't happen. Some people stay emotionally tied to the version of life they thought they were supposed to have. They keep trying to measure their current life against an old plan that no longer fits. They keep holding themselves hostage to expectations their body can't meet. And the longer you do that, the harder it becomes to see any value in the life you still have in front of you. There comes a point where you have to ask yourself whether the old picture is still serving you. Is it helping you move forward, or is it keeping you stuck in grief? Is it giving you direction, or is it giving you another reason to be disappointed? Because sometimes the healing isn't in getting the old life back. Sometimes the healing is in learning how to stop worshiping a version of life that no longer exists. There was a time when I couldn't have traveled or even made plans to travel because I was sick all the time. My body wouldn't allow it. My life was too unpredictable. I didn't know how I would feel from one moment to the next, and that kind of uncertainty makes it hard to plan anything with confidence. But even in that season, I didn't let go of my bucket list. I didn't stop having dreams. I may have had to put some things on pause, and I may have had to accept life was not moving the way I wanted it to. But I never gave myself permission to believe that my dreams were over. Sometimes chronic illness changes the timeline, but it does not have to erase the dream. That doesn't mean you stop dreaming. It means you dream differently. It means you begin to build with honesty instead of denial. You start asking new questions. What works for me now? What matters to me now? What kind of life can I create with the body, energy, and reality I have today? Those questions aren't small. They're the beginning of freedom. Because once you stop fighting reality, you finally have enough strength to work with it. And that's where peace starts to enter. Not all at once, not in some perfect, inspiring moment, but little by little, when you stop making your values dependent on a plan that got interrupted. Little by little, when you stop calling yourself a failure for adapting. Little by little, when you realize that rebuilding your life is not the same as giving up on it. So what do you do when life didn't meet your expectations? but you're still here, still hoping, and still trying to figure out what comes next. You start by giving yourself permission to rebuild without shame. Not from the life you thought you would have, but from the life you have now. That matters because many people living with chronic illness spend so much time trying to get back to an old version of themselves that they never stop to ask what support, peace, and purpose look like in this season. Rebuilding begins when you stop asking your current life to look like your past plans. That kind of rebuilding takes honesty. It means you may have to set different goals. You may have to move at a different pace. You may have to define success in a way that doesn't match what the world celebrates. Maybe success is making it through the week without pushing your body into a crash. Maybe success is finally asking for help. Maybe success is resting without guilt. Maybe success is still believing there's something beautiful ahead, even after life forced you to take a road you didn't choose. It also means learning how to hold hope in a healthier way. Hope isn't pretending everything will go back to the way it was. Hope is believing life can still hold meaning, joy, purpose, and good moments, even if it looks different than what you expected. Hope says, this isn't the path I planned, but I'll still look for what is possible here. That kind of hope is steadier. It's not built on fantasy. It's built on resilience. And sometimes rebuilding looks small before it looks big. It looks like making one plan you can feel good about. It looks like celebrating one good day without fearing the next bad one. It looks like adjusting without calling yourself weak. It looks like trusting that a changed life is still a life worth living. You don't rebuild everything in one moment. You rebuild choice by choice, boundary by boundary, step by step. That's how you begin to create a life that feels honest. Not perfect, not untouched by grief, but honest. A life where you stop chasing who you used to be and start caring for who you are now. A life where you stop measuring everything by what was lost and start noticing what still matters. A life where your expectations are no longer built on pressure, but on truth, compassion, and room to breathe. There is a difference between living the life you expected and living the life you still have. For many people with chronic illness, the deepest struggle is not only managing symptoms, it's learning how to stay open to life after life has disappointed you. It's learning how to keep your heart open after plans fell apart. It's learning how to believe there's still something worth reaching for, even when the road looks nothing like the one you had in your mind. That kind of living takes courage. Because the truth is, many of us thought we'd be somewhere else by now. We thought life would feel more stable, more predictable, more full in certain ways. We thought we'd have reached certain goals, lived certain moments, or become a version of ourselves that now feels far away. And when chronic illness enters the picture, it can make you feel like life cheated you. It can make you feel like something was taken. In many ways, something was. But even with that truth, there's still another truth sitting beside it. You're still here. You're still becoming. You're still allowed to want things, enjoy things, plan things, try things, and experience moments that matter to you. Your life doesn't lose its worth because it took a different route. Your story doesn't lose its meaning because it became harder than you expected. And your future doesn't have to be dismissed simply because it no longer looks the way you first imagined it. I know some of you are feeling the pain and wondering when you will see daylight again. It's difficult to see the horizon in the middle of a storm, but storms don't last forever. This season will pass. That's what I want us to hold on to. Not the pressure to force a happy ending, not the need to pretend we're fine when we're grieving, but the willingness to believe that life can still meet us in new ways, that joy can still show up, that peace can still be built, that dreams can still adapt and live. Sometimes chronic illness changes the timeline, but it doesn't have to erase the dream. So if life has not met your expectations, grieve it. Tell the truth about it. Be honest about what it cost you. But do not bury yourself there. Don't assume that changed plans means there is nothing left for you. There is still life here. There is still purpose here. There is still something worth loving, building, protecting, and experiencing here. And sometimes the bravest things you can do is stop asking life to look the way it used to in your mind and start asking what beauty, meaning, and strength still exists in the life in front of you now. Set aside some quiet time this week with your journal. These prompts are meant to help you notice your direction, not judge your pace. What expectation did you once have for your life that chronic illness forced you to reconsider? Which ones still bring you pain when you think about them? Have you been grieving only the illness, or have you also been grieving the life you thought you would have by now? What part of that loss feels hardest to name? Where have you been unfairly judging yourself for being on a different timeline? What would it look like to respond to yourself with more truth and compassion? What dreams have you quietly held on to, even through pain, setbacks, and delays? How might that dream look now if you allowed it to adapt instead of disappear? What would rebuilding your life from honesty look like in this season? Not from pressure, not from comparison, but from the reality of who you are and what you need right now. Take your time with these questions. You don't need perfect answers. You only need enough honesty to begin seeing yourself clearly again. And now a word from our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Empowerment in Illness, a space created for people living with chronic illness who need support, tools, and honest encouragement while learning how to move through a life they did not expect. We know what it feels like when plans change, when your body shifts the direction of your future, and when you are left trying to make sense of it all. That is why we are building resources that speak to the real challenges of this journey, not from the outside looking in, but from lived experience. At empowermentinillness.com, you will find tools and resources designed to help you feel more prepared and less alone. From podcast episodes that speak to the emotional side of this journey, to digital products that support advocacy, organization, and self-understanding, our goal is to help you move through chronic illness with more clarity and confidence. We believe support should feel practical, honest, and rooted in the truth of what this life can look like. If you are trying to keep track of your symptoms, organize your medical life, find words for what you are feeling, or simply feel seen in a way that makes this road easier to carry, Empowerment in Illness was built with you in mind. This is about more than information. This is about helping you live with greater strength, greater intention, and greater support as you walk through your own journey. Visit empowermentinillness.com to explore the podcast, resources, and tools created by warriors like you. Be prepared. Don't panic. And now, back to the show. Before we leave, I would like to close with a special portion of the show I call Healing Heartbeats. This is where we allow ourselves to wallow in sorrow. Give yourself 3 minutes to laugh, cry, scream, cuss, or just sit in silence. Whatever you need to do to feel it, do it. Let the depression in for only 3 minutes. Once you've reached 3 minutes, compartmentalize it and get back to living. This is a rinse and repeat behavior. You cannot let depression take over, because when it does, it will not let go. When we hear about the passing of someone, they have the day they were born and the day they pass away. There is a dash in the middle. It's not a long line, but a short dash. That dash represents your life. Go live in spite of having a chronic illness. Don't let your condition stop you. As we close today, I want to leave you with this truth. Life not meeting your expectation does not mean your life has lost its meaning. Chronic illness has a way of interrupting plans, shifting timelines, and forcing you to face versions of pain you never prepared for. It can change how you move, how you dream, how you work, how you love, and how you see yourself. But even with all of that, your life still carries value. Your story still carries weight, and the part of you that had to bend, grieve, and adapt in order to survive are not proof that you were broken. They are proof that you have been living through something real. Today, we talk about the grief of unmet expectations, the quiet heartbreak of realizing life did not unfold the way you thought it would, and the emotional toll of watching the world keep moving while you are trying to adjust to a body and a reality you did not ask for. We talk about comparison, self-judgment, and the pressure of carrying timelines that no longer fit, but we also told the truth about something else. We told the truth that loss and hope can still sit in the same place. We told the truth that a delayed dream is not always a dead dream. And we told the truth that sometimes chronic illness changes the timeline, but it does not have to erase the dream. So wherever this episode finds you, whether you are grieving what was lost, questioning what comes next, or trying to make peace with a life that feels unfamiliar, please know this: you are not weak because this hurts. You are not failing because life looks different. You are not behind because your journey took a turn you did not plan for. You're living a reality that asks more of you than many people will ever understand. Give yourself credit for still being here. Give yourself room to rebuild without shame. And give yourself permission to believe that even this life, the one that looks different than expected, can still hold joy, purpose, beauty, and moments worth reaching for. Don't bury a dream simply because your path changed. Don't count yourself out because life forced you to slow down. Don't let broken expectations convince you that there is nothing left ahead of you. There is still life here. There is still meaning here. There is still something worth loving, building, protecting, and experiencing here. And as long as you are still here, there is room for healing, growth, and a future that meets you in a new way. To the people around me who are facing hard and unexpected battles right now, I'm holding you close in my heart. I'm sending prayers your way, and I want you to know you're not alone. We are warriors, and we support each other through it all. Remember, you have the strength, the heart, and the support to continue your journey. Be safe.